Hello and welcome back to the Kou Louise Academy YouTube channel. It feels really good to be back, and I'm so excited that my voice is now clear enough to continue to create content. So without further ado, let's just go into today's video. In today's video, we will be looking at file permissions. So let us go to our Linux terminal and look at what that is all about. As we begin today's episode, the first thing I want us to do is to switch to the root directory. So I'll do that by typing cd// and press enter. And then I will do ls command and press enter. When we do the ls command, it's used to list the content of your current working directory. As you can see, the content here has different colors. So we are not sure what each color means. To get more details about what these things mean, we will use the ls space and we'll use the -l option. So we'll use that and press enter. The -l option of the ls command will give us a long list. And this is what we really need when we are looking at file permissions. So looking at permission in Linux, if you pay attention to the very first line, you'll notice that at the very left here, we have 10 characters. So I'll just highlight those characters. But what I want you to pay attention to is the very first character. So on the first line, the first character is a L. On the second line, you see all these lines starts with D. And then you have L. And then you have this line. It's different. It starts with a hyphen. The very first line, if it starts with a L, L means that this is a link. And then if it starts with a D, it means that this is a directory. And then if it starts with hyphen, hyphen means that it is a file. Let us now take a look at the next 9 characters. So take, for example, these characters. I will just copy them. I will erase everything from here. I will paste that in the terminal. So what I want to do is these 9 characters are actually a group of 3. So we had 3 set of characters in 3 groups. The very first 3 characters is the user permission. The next 3 characters has to do with the group permission. And then the last 3 characters has to do with others. Coming to the very first line, the user is root and the group is root. And in our video about understanding groups and user, we did say if you create a user on Linux, a group is automatically created for the user and the group serves as the user primary group. And the primary group uses the same name as the user name. So this user root, which is the root user, belongs to the primary group root. These first 3 sets of permissions is the user permission. So the user, or pretty much the owner of the file. So the owner of the file is root. So this root user has RWX permission on this file, on this link, I should say, because it starts with an L, right? Then the group this user belongs to is root. This group, which is the group that owns this link, the permission they have to this link is RWX. And then others. So that is any other person on the system that is not the root user or that does not belong to this root group has RWX. Another thing we want to look at is, I'll just go 2 lines, RWX. So R means read, W means write, X means execute. If a user has read access to a file, it means that the user can display the content of that file. If it is a directory, it means that the person can display the content of the directory. If it's a write permission, which is W, it means that you can open the file to read, but not only that, you can also modify the file by adding information to it and deleting information. That's what it means to have write permission. If it is a directory, it means that you can go within that directory and add and remove content from the directory. So it means you have write permission. And then if it is execute, this has to do with a script. So if the file is a script, and you need to run the script, as a user, you need to have the execute permission in order for you to execute the script. So that's what the RWX stands for. Take, for example, it starts with a hyphen, so we know that it's a file, and then the first 3 characters is RW and dash, which means the owner of this file, root, has read-write permission. The root user doesn't have execute permission yet, so that's why it is represented with a hyphen. So hyphen is like 0. It means that you don't have that permission. Then the group have nothing for read, write, and execute. Everything is hyphen throughout, as well as every other person. You'll notice that with different files. So for example, this last directory var, it starts with a D, so it's a directory. The root has read, write, execute. The group has read and execute, and then all others have read and execute. I'm going to switch to this user home directory. I'm going to clear my screen. So I'm going to do ls-l. So we notice that in this user home directory, there are all directories here. So what we can do is to just create a blank file. So you can say, we can just name it test.file.txt. So when we do ls space -l, we notice that this file belongs to this user KLA. The KLA user has the read and write permission to the file, as well as the group has read and write permission, and all other users on this computer has just read. So which means they can display the content of the file, but they cannot open the file to modify it. They cannot modify because they don't have write permission. And if it is a script, they will not be able to execute the script because they don't have the permission. So pretty much that's what these characters at the beginning all represent. So now the next thing we want to look at is how we can modify the permission or change permission of a file. So to change permission of a file, you use the chmod command. So it's like change modification. So chmod, to add permission, you will use plus. Plus is to add, and minus is to take away a permission. So let's suppose that we want to add the execute permission to this file that we created. So we can say chmod plus execute is represented with X and then space, and then we'll put the name of the file. So we'll put the name of the file, and then we'll press enter. So when we do that, then we'll try to view the content of the directory by using ls-l. So I will press enter. And as you can see, because we added the execute permission, we notice that initially on this file, the user had read and write, but no execute. The group had read and write, no execute. And every other person had read, but nothing else. But because we added plus X, now we notice that on this file, it has given execute to the user. It has added execute for the group, and then also added execute for others. So others now, apart from having read access, they now have execute. And because the file has the executable permission assigned, so if you notice, the color has changed from being white to green. The reason why I did this is to just point out that if you add a permission and you don't specify whether you are adding it for the user or for the group or for others, it will just add it to all of those 3 different categories across the board. So what we will do, let us repeat that command and remove the execute permission from on it. So we'll put this, and then we'll press enter, and then we'll just do the ls-l command, just to bring it back to the same state it was in as before, right? So this time around, let's suppose that we just want to add the execute command just for the user. So for user is U, right? So the U is for user, G is for group, O is for others. So when we put the chmod command and we put U minus X, sorry, we will use U plus X because we want to add, we don't want to remove, right? So when we press enter and we repeat the ls-l command, we will notice that the execute was only added for the user, but not for the group and not for others. So that's important to remember, that if you don't put U or if you don't put G for group or if you don't put O for other, if you just put plus X, it's going to add the permission across the board. Let's say we want to remove from others the ability for them to read. So we'll put other and minus read, and then we'll press enter. And then when we repeat the others minus L command, we would notice that others now do not have any permission to this file. So that's how you will go about doing that. With this way of changing the permission, you can just tackle each of the different categories at a time. So the user category, and or the group or the others. Let's suppose that we want to give, let's say, rewrite execute to the user at the same time we want to give it to the group, and at the same time we want to give it to others. How can we go about it? In that case, it will introduce us to another concept. As we proceed, let us first take a break and review quickly things that we have covered. We said read is represented by arrow, and then we have write is represented by W, and we have execute. So execute is represented by X. So this is important. Then we also said when you look at the 10 characters, the very first character tells us what we are looking at. So if it is a D, then it means it's a directory. If it is a hyphen, it means that it's a file. And if it is a L, it means it's a link. So this is important. So these are important things to remember. Then another thing is when it comes to permission, these different permission has a numeric value. And these numeric values are constant. They are never going to change across the board regardless of which type of liners you are using. When it comes to read, read has a value of 4. So that's something that you have to just remember. There's no way about it. When it comes to write, write has a value of 2. And then when it comes to execute, execute has a value of 1. So come behind here, execute has a value of 1. I'm just going to create a little bit more space. So this is very important for us to remember. If you want to assign read, you can use 4. If you just want to assign write permission, you use 2. If you just want to assign execute, you use 1. But if you want to add more than 1, so let's suppose we want to add read and write. What you will do is you will add the numbers. So to give read and write, it will be 6 because 4 plus 2 equal to 6. So if you assign 6 to the user, it means that the user has both read and write. If you assign just 1, it means the user just has execute. If you assign just 2, it means the user has write. If you assign just 4, the user has just read. If you assign 5, we know that 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 means read and execute. 6 means read and write. 7 means read, write, and execute. And 7 is the highest number that you can assign when it comes to permission. So if someone has 7, it means they have the highest permission, read, write, and execute. So keeping these in mind, let us again take a look at how we can use those to alter permissions. So I will start by doing ls minus L for us to have a look at our file. So we have rewrite execute for the user, we have rewrite for the group, and then we don't have no permission for others. So let's say we want to give everyone rewrite execute to that file. So we'll do chmod. So we know that the 3 groups go in the order of user, group, and others, right? So in this case, the first number will be for the user, the second number will be for the group, and the third number will be for others. So to give rewrite execute for the user is 7, rewrite execute for the group is 7, rewrite execute for others is 7. So we'll press space. I'm just going to remove these and put the file name. So when we press enter and we repeat the ls command, notice what we see. We see that now the user has rewrite execute, and then the group has rewrite execute, and then we have rewrite execute for others. So let's say we want to deny the group rewrite execute. So we'll just replace it by 0 and it will be 707. And we'll press enter. When we repeat this ls minus L, we notice that the user has rewrite execute, the group doesn't have any permission, and then others have rewrite execute. So just make sure to be very careful with 7 because that's the highest permission, like I said, that you can assign. So you just don't want to give that permission to anyone that doesn't need to have that much permission to the file. So let's say we give 700, it means that every other group is denied except the user. So the user has rewrite execute, the group has nothing, and then others have nothing. So that's how you go about assigning permission and modifying permission to files and directories. So I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to do ls -l. So we see that this user, KLA, the user has rewrite execute, right? So let's suppose that we want to add something to the file. So let's say, so we will use echo and then we'll put the content that we want to add to the file. We'll put 2 and greater than sign, which is for redirection. And if you use 1 is to redirect, it's going to overwrite the content of the file. But right now this file is a blank file, so there's nothing in it. But if you want to append, then you just add 1. For us right now, we don't have anything, so we don't have to use double. So I'll just put the name of the file here. So when I press enter, if we do cat on the name of the file, we can see that it has that content, right? So now, because the KLA user has the permission to read this file, they are able to display the content. So let's say we want to remove this permission from the KLA user. So let's say chmod, we'll put U for user, we want to remove. Let's do 000 space and the file name. So we'll press enter, we'll do ls -l. We see that no one has right to this file. So let's repeat this command to display the content of the file. You see? So we were able to display the content of the file right on this line. We were able to display it. But now because this KLA user doesn't have permission, so you see that it says permission denied. And even the group has no permission and others have no permission. So it says permission denied. So we see that it works. So let's suppose that we want to give the KLA user the ability to read the file. So we will clear the screen and we'll repeat the command. So to read, we said read is full. So we'll just put full and press enter, ls -l, and now the KLA user can read. So when we repeat this command and we press enter, we see that we can now see additional content, right? Okay, so now that KLA user can read, let's say we want to modify the file. Let's say we want to add additional information to the file. So we'll go about by our echo command and then let us type here quotation mark. Let's say we are adding a second line. So we want to append, so we'll use 2 and then put the name of the file. And when we press enter, it tells us permission denied. And the reason is the KLA user, as we can see here, has only the ability to read. So obviously they cannot write to the file. So to write to the file, let us modify the command. So to read is 4, to write is 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. So we'll do 600. And then when we press enter and we'll do ls -l, it tells us now that the KLA user can read and write. Now, because the KLA user can read and write, let us try to add that content. Now we repeat the command. This is what we wanted to add and we press enter. As you can see, we didn't get an error. And then when we use the cat command to read that file, we can display the content. This is the first line in the file and this is the second line in the file. So now, because the KLA user has the ability to write to the file, so they can add content to the file. That's pretty much covers the permission. Another thing we can look at as we wrap up this video is just to look at execute, how to execute, right? So we're going to create a very short script, and this script will just have within it the ability to just run the ls -l command. And then we will see how the execute works. So I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to just use the nano command to create a file. I'll name this file ls script sh. Press enter. It's going to open. I'm quickly going to type a script and then I can explain what I type in there and then we can proceed. So let's quickly go over the script. So this is a bash script. So as you can see, the very first line starts with a hash, which means that it would not be executed. And the second line also has a hash, so it wouldn't be executed. So the second line is pretty much just saying what the script is about. So the script is just a script to execute the ls-l command. And as you write scripts, because not only you will use a script, other people will use a script. So it's always good at the top to put a little introduction or a little description about what your script is all about, so that when someone look at this, they know exactly what the script is all about. So here I have an echo command to just say that executing ls-l command, and then it's going to execute the ls-l command, and then it's going to finish by saying that the execution has complete. So that's it. And then I'm just going to save by using at the bottom here to save is command and O. So I'm going to use command and O to save. And then I'm going to keep the same name, ls_script.sh. I'm just going to press enter. And then it tells us down here that wrote 9 lines. So we know that it has saved. Then the next thing is the exit, which is command and X. I'm just going to do that. So when I do ls-l, now we have the script right here. After running the ls-l command, we notice that the KLA user has rewrite permission to the script, and then the group has rewrite and others have read. So let us try to run the script and see what happens. So in Linux, to run a script, you just put dot and put a / and then put the name of the script. So I'm just going to put the name ls_script.sh, and I'll press enter, and it tells us permission denied. And the reason is because this user doesn't have the execute permission. So we will have to give that user the execute permission. So I'm just going to do chmod space U for user and plus, and then the execute is X, and then I'm going to put the name of the script. All right. Now press enter. So when we repeat the ls-l command, now we see that because the user now has execute, so in fact the color has changed to green. So now that this user has the execute permission, let us now try to run that script. So we just press the up arrow to repeat the command, and then now we are back to the command, then we can just press enter. So now that we press enter, we see that our script was able to run successfully. So it tells us executing ls-l command, and then it did execute the command, and then at the bottom it says script execution complete. So now we see that the script was able to run because the user has the execute permission. When the KLA user didn't have execute permission, the running of the script had permission denied. But when we assign the execute permission to the user, now the user was able to successfully run the script. So this is just a high-level overview of file permission in Linux. I hope this was useful. And if you got any value from this video, make sure to like it. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to also subscribe. If you have any questions or any suggestions that you'd like to make, or any recommendation that you would like to make to us, make sure to leave those in the comment section below. And also don't forget to share this video with someone who will find this video useful. So until we meet in the next video, take care, bye, and I will talk to you later.